Hello everyone, my name is Nicholas Donovan. Today I am going to be giving my persuasive speech on why I believe colleges should also teach a real-world class before graduation. I am going to be reading off of my visual guide, so bear with me on that. I'd like to ask us something. How many of us are able to solve for X, but we don't have any idea how our taxes work? How many of us can write a 10-page research paper, but we don't fully understand our credit scores, how our student loans might affect us? That's just reality in today's education system. Today, I'd like to make the argument that colleges should definitely prioritize teaching at least some life skills alongside our traditional academics, because knowledge is very important and real-world survival skills are definitely essential, and I think all of us should be set up for success. I'm not saying that math, science, reading, I'm not saying any of these skills in classes don't matter, because without a doubt, they definitely do. But college is meant to challenge us intellectually, but the problem that we often run into is we're spending thousands of dollars learning theories or history while we're being sent into adulthood without some basic tools that we're expected to learn on our own to manage our own lives. According to the National Finance Educators Council, which was a website I found, many young adults report feeling unprepared right after their senior year when they hit the real world on handling their personal finances. That's not just uncomfortable, that's dangerous. Poor financial decisions can obviously affect everybody for their whole lives. If you get into insane amounts of debt, not only with student loans, but with purchasing a home, you're setting yourself up for failure, and you may never be able to live your life, go on vacation, not have money to do things that you want to do, and just be paying your whole life. My first point is that financial literacy should definitely be required in college as a course. We're all adults now. We're not kids in high school, middle school. We're taking on debt, or we're signing a lease for a car, or we're renting an apartment. Most of the time, we're going to be building credit, but a lot of us were never taught about how interest works beyond just math class. If you know how to budget, if you know how to invest, and if you understand your taxes, you're going to be able to evaluate loans, which are directly going to impact your long-term health, your stress levels, and opportunities. Being in debt and not having money, being in money troubles, is going to stress you out, and the more stressed you are, it's going to impact your health major. The second point that I would like to bring up, the second class that I think should be taught, is just about basic health and wellness skills. Right now I'm taking a course, actually HPE 1200 with Dr. Sherman, and it's helped me immensely on just understanding, well-being and health and wellness. We're expected to perform, at a very high level academically, especially in university, but we're often not taught how to sleep. People stay up late doing these papers, or they have to juggle a bunch of classes with work and school. They may not know how much sleep, nutrition, or stress management are directly impacting their brain's performance and their overall well-being. The CDC emphasizes that lifestyle choices like diet, exercise, and stress management play a major role in preventing chronic diseases like heart failure and even cancer. That's not just about being fit or exercising. That's literally about your long-term survival. And if you don't know the importance of sleep and what you eat, you might just be grabbing stuff from a vending machine while you're, juggling all these classes. And it's just going to affect you long term. If nobody has the knowledge of being intentional about their nutrition and what they eat and how they sleep, nobody's going to do it. The third class and point really that I'd like to bring up is we should incorporate a career readiness, or kind of like a job training, almost like a navigation skills. You want to know how to navigate the job market and navigate where you're going to be working and how you're going to apply for that job, how you're going to deal with people. I'm not talking about negotiating your salary or, the job fairs. These are good, but a lot of people don't even show up for them because they're not necessary. Like, we need to be made aware of this, and it needs to be necessary about how you're going to build a network professionally. Also, not only that, but how you're going to value communication. A report from the National Association of Colleges and Employers actually shows that employers value communication, critical thinking, and professionalism just as much, if not more, than your resume and your technical skills. So if they can't talk to you and they don't really mesh with you, you may get just thrown to the bottom of the list, even though you're overqualified for the job. Many students graduate knowing that their major, knowing the contents for their major and being well trained in that, but they feel completely lost when they get into an interview or in the workplace setting. They can't bond with people. Now, the pandemic definitely attributed to this, but it actually says since 2021, 90% of students say they had a tough time or experienced anxiety before their interviews. Some people might look at that and say, oh, that's not college's job. You need to figure that out on your own. And while they may be right, and a lot of people have done it, I'm here to speak out and say the thing is, we already require dozens of general education credits. We require electives, courses even outside of our major. So if we're structuring people's time on taking these other classes or, extracurriculars, etc., why not include a skill that's directly going to impact their life and how they're going to do in an interview and getting a job? It's not like about replacing academics. Again, I'd like to really emphasize, I'm not telling you math isn't important, science not important, English isn't important. I'm just saying this is going to help complement people's skills and just help them do better. So it may even propel some people to go to university when they didn't before, because they're going to be getting real life skills out of it, learning their finances, learning how to, conduct an interview, just really things that I think is going to strengthen people, not weaken their brain or weaken their education, just strengthen it. And at the end of the day, education shouldn't just prepare us for exams or, grades. It should really prepare us for life. Whether we can graduate, support ourselves, stay healthy, or manage stress isn't fully a college's, responsibility. But in order to build a stable future, those are all aspects that you would like to optimize and max out. So if colleges truly want to serve their students and really justify the cost, because God willing, I'm very thankful Kingsborough is very cost effective. But in these big universities, if you want to justify the cost, you need to prioritize, giving practical life skills alongside traditional academics. Not just as an afterthought really, but more as a requirement. Because more and more we see these people, and like I said, COVID definitely did attribute to it. Social anxiety is on the rise. Everything. It's just more so something that is really going to benefit society and young people as they enter the real world. Thank you very much for listening, and I would love to know what you feel.